how to keep the mind from wandering back into, blah, 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 all the mental stuff.
Who would do that?
The imaginary me.
Dream character is dreamt, is like a puppet. The puppet cannot.
She's in charge.
Yes. And the puppeteer is playing. He's telling a story. Yeah, the puppeteer's unconcerned about what's happening to the various characters. They're just play characters, dream characters, imaginary characters, the prince and the princess and the vizier and yeah. So that's your contemplation. What is it that wants the mind to cease wandering?
The imaginary me.
Because the
angst. The imaginary me wants to be in charge. Even in charge of being in charge of making itself not in charge.
Yeah. Yes, that's well said. Yes. Right. You see, the mind, when you say the mind, depends what you mean, because there is no such thing as a mind. Like you've never met a mind or talked to a mind or seen a mind. A mind, the word mind, refers to thoughts, sensations, perceptions, memories. And when we say my mind, then there is a reference to some owner of thought, some owner of perception, some owner of memory, something that is actually itself. It's a thought. Itself is a mentation that supposedly is the keeper of the herd, is the shepherd. So there really is no actual mind, and there is no actual owner of something called the mind. But yet by mind we refer to phenomenal experiences, memories, thoughts, and so on. And a mind in that sense, in the way we refer to it, is pretty innocuous. Trees, memories. I remember my mother. I remember playing with my brothers. I remember traveling to Turkey, etc., etc., etc. I remember stubbing my toe, whatever. I remember various relationships, friends. I perceive perceptions. I have dreams. All of that is mind, and it's not really not a problem. There is no problem with your dreams. But the impression of unhappiness that arises is when something is happening to you. Something is, in particular when you're losing something, when you're gaining $1 million, that's beautiful, but then you have to make sure that Uncle Sam doesn't take a big bite out of that $1 million, and then you have to make sure that you invest whatever remains correctly, and it's all these concerns. Oh my goodness, what's going to happen to my remaining, $200,000? So the impression of unhappiness and anxiety comes with the me impression. So when you look at your mind and you ask, well, how can I prevent my mind from wandering? You're actually asking, how can I stop being unhappy? Because you don't really care whether it rains, whether a deer walks into the forest, whether it's sunny. I don't really care. What you care is what's going to happen to you, what's going to happen to your property, what's going to happen to your car, what's going to happen to whatever is yours, whatever is you, an extension of you. So your question is not really about how can I stop the mind from wandering, is how can I be peace, how can I find peace and happiness that doesn't come and go. That's the question.
Yeah.
So it's really, really important for you to contemplate your question. to really come to understand your question, to come to the core of your question. Your question is about peace and happiness that does not come and go. But the peace and happiness that is dependent on anything is going to come and go, because things come and go. Right? So peace and happiness that depends on an experience, or peace and happiness that depends on a relationship or on a situation. That is not what you're looking for, because you know that that peace and happiness comes and goes, and you have to seek the next thing. So at least you know that you can let the world, body, mind be. You can let experiences be, sensations be, thoughts be, relationships be. You can let them be. You don't need to seek your peace and happiness in those directions, because those directions will not reveal it, because they come and go. So therefore, if I cannot find peace and happiness in the world, body, mind, where is it? Where is peace and happiness? If it's not, the world is out there, the mind is, in the past and the future. And the relationships are here and there. So I continue to ask myself, well, wait a minute, if it's not in the world, body, mind, where is it? And then somewhere you hear the question being posed to you, and it might interest you or not. Who is it? What is it that asks this question? What are you? Wait a minute, I'm not interested in this question. I want to know about peace and happiness. Okay, fine, continue. But who is seeking this peace and happiness? What is it that is seeking this peace and happiness? What are you? It's not a trivial question. It is actually an opening. In this question, there is an opening for you. To what you are seeking. Because you are what you truly are. Not as a woman, not as Trish, not as a mother. What you truly are is this peace and happiness that does not come and go. But when you concern yourselves about bringing the mind to cease wandering, in one way, in some way, you are also maintaining the me. Maintaining the me, maintaining the separation.
Right, because it's the me doing it.
Now this does not mean...
And, the imaginary me imaginarily doing it.
Yes, but this does not mean that it might not be helpful for you to be in a restful place in order to contemplate. Sometimes when you're very busy in the world, very involved in the world, very involved in work, very involved in family relationships, very involved with the neighbors, very involved with political issues and social issues, there is no room for contemplation. Yeah. The bases are loaded. You need some downtime. And then you have to prepare dinner and wash your dishes, and then you watch some television, and then you go to bed, and there is all this vibration, there is all this movement, and all these images that is flowing by, and there is not much room for contemplation. So slow things down, tone down the stimulation, in your day, in your life. No. It might be challenging because our habits, but it's a worthwhile challenge to take on. It's you experiment with yourself, experiment with your life, change your patterns, because you've been a seeker for so long. So change your pattern. You've been a seeker for so long, so change your patterns. It's worth a try. Quiet things down. Say no. Say no to certain activities. Allow some quiet time in your day. Hang out with the sages. Hang out with the truth and the truth lovers. Because there is a shared interest in that way. It's not diffused in many different directions. And at some point the mind gets it, starts to quiet down. Because you're also living a quieter life and a life of contemplation. We have a tendency to fill our life with a lot of things, activities. Be involved in activities that open your heart, that lead you to contemplation. Listen to some really beautiful, inspiring music, not emotional, not that triggers your emotions or that triggers your body. Read some beautiful poetry by some of the sages. Walk in nature quietly. You come to satsang regularly. Other ways too, throughout the day and throughout the week, that you can. And then the mind will come on board, because it's being invited to the contemplation, to the quiet and the stillness. Contemplate that you are that you seek. Operate and perceive the world from that basis, that I am that. I have been told I am that, and I believe it, and I am that. Operate from that basis. That you are the wholeness of being, not some form that's born and decays. Not.